Scary stalkers caught on camera. This guy was just shopping at the mall, but he wasn't alone.
I'm in Publix, right? And this guy keeps following me around. You see him in the background with the yellow suit? See? Right there in the yellow suit. See, look, there you go.
This Twitch streamer was having a lovely day at the beach when a random guy sat on her side.
His name either. Hey, don't do that. Don't do that.
This girl was peacefully walking on the road talking on the phone with a friend when suddenly...
Shit, is that him?
Yep, I got him. Just keep walking. Take your first right. Stay calm. Turn right. I'm moving in now.
Are you familiar with the uncanny valley? If not, it's that feeling that you may experience when you see something that's humanoid, but something's not quite right. Like for example, when you see a robot or a wax figure. Now, there are many theories as to why we experience this phenomenon, but one that a lot of people like to go with is that somewhere along the way during evolution, we learned not to trust things that look very human that aren't exactly human. That honestly creeps me out so much, but I'm curious to know what your theories are.
This is how you spot a skinwalker. On January of this year, a creator by the name Donnie Donahue uploaded a video titled Skinwalker Sighting in Abandoned Mine. In the video, Danny hears an unnerving sound coming from the cave.
What the fuck is that?
Creepy enough, the cave is sealed shut, like it's keeping something locked away.
Do we go up there? I don't hear it anymore. I'll be doing this.
As Danny gets closer, what he captures will haunt him forever. Take a look.
Yeah, I don't see anything. Go.
Have you guys heard about the staircases in the woods? Apparently deep in the forest there are staircases that lead to nowhere, and you are absolutely supposed to stay away from them. So 36% of the US is covered in forest. That's over 800 million acres. And there are elite search and rescue units that are deployed to search for people that inevitably go missing in these dense, wild, forested areas. And a ranger from one of those units authored a Reddit thread called "I am a search and rescue officer for the US Forestry Service. I have stories to tell." And he describes these random staircases deep in the woods, miles and miles from any civilization, that you are absolutely supposed to avoid. And during one of his first training ops, he would come across one of these staircases. A massive 10-foot wide carpeted staircase that he says looked like it came from a turn-of-the-century mansion. He says it looked so out of place that it almost seemed like a video game glitch. He began to take a step towards these stairs to check him out, but he felt the firm grip of his trainer's hand on his arm, and she just said, "That's not a good idea." And she held her grip on his arm and just calmly stated, "You're going to see them all the time. Don't touch them, don't go near them, don't go up them, just ignore them." And so he took her advice, but he could never really let go of the curiosity of what was going on with these stairs. So every time he would get close with one of the veteran rangers, he would kind of see if he could bring it up and see if they'd tell him anything. And he discovered that one of his buddies had a very similar training experience. He also saw a set of the stairs with his trainer, and his trainer basically verbatim said the exact same thing. Don't go near them, don't touch them, leave them alone, ignore them. But he didn't have quite as much willpower as our author. About a year into the job, he was on an op, they were looking for a missing little girl, and because of the way that the pattern was formed for the search, he was able to break away from the line without being seen after seeing one of these staircases. And as he approached the staircase, nothing really felt wrong, but he did feel like excitement because he knew he was doing something he technically wasn't supposed to do. and he noticed that the stairs were like brand new. There was no leaves or dirt or even bugs on them. So he started climbing the stairs. Step by step, nothing happened. But then he got to the top step and began to feel this undeniable sense of wrongdoing, like he was just committing some kind of heinous act. And he tried to kind of shake it off and just convince himself that it was in his head. It's just a set of stairs, but the longer he stayed on the top step, the worse it got. Then he realized he couldn't hear anything, not the forest, not even his own breathing, so he went back down the stairs and rejoined the search and didn't say anything about it. The search ended that day. They didn't find the little girl, and when he got back to camp, he was reprimanded by his superior for climbing the stairs. He asked how he could have possibly known that he climbed the stairs, and he told him, because we didn't find her. We had a trail, and then the dogs lost the scent. I'm sorry, I'm out of time. Comment for part 2.
Look at this. Lake Mead in Las Vegas is drying up due to the drought, and they're finding bodies in barrels, supposedly left by the mafia in the late 70s. Let's check it out. Here's the one they found last month. I think it was the second body that they found. It was in that barrel, and they can't really tell how the person died. I think they're still gonna do like some more research on it, but that's crazy.
So I found this little basement. It's freaking weird. Oh my god!
How to get any girl's attention at a party. Quick glance, smile, look at a friend, take a drink, look away, and bring them back. Flare the nostrils, soften it, bite the lip, harder, puff the chest, mating call. Look away. Look at your watch. Is that a fly? And we're back. Smolder. Cross-eyed. Hard to get. Bite. Laugh. And gone. Add some mystery. Now baby face. Dance. Slow it down. And peacock. Bigger. Bigger. She's all yours.
Ladies, be fucking careful. An Uber driver that drove me to work about 3 weeks ago came to my job tonight. He asked the host for me by name, and they told this man I was upstairs and let him straight to me. I don't know this man, but he remembered where I work.
I have a similar Uber story of when I went to go get my vaccine at a Safeway that was really far from my house. The Safeway at the time was the only place that had vaccines available, and I really wanted to get it over with, but it was really far, like it was on the edge of town. I let the Uber driver know that because we were just making small talk, and he offered to wait for me till I was done getting my vaccine because he said there were barely any Ubers that were in that area. I thought it made sense and I agreed, and he didn't give me any red flags because he was giving me like grandpa vibes because he was a really old man. He asked for my number and told me to let him know when I was done and he would just bring the car around. I gave him my number, I got the vaccine, and the lady that gave me the vaccine was like, oh, just wait here 15 minutes in case there's any severe reactions or symptoms with your vaccines. As I'm waiting, there was like a knock on the door, and it was my Uber driver, and he was like, hey, you haven't texted. I wanted to see if everything was okay. I don't know, up until this point I just thought he was being very like nice and like grandfatherly, so I didn't really think it was that creepy. It wasn't until I got this chill down my back on the way back to my house because my eyes started to get like really heavy and I started to get really sleepy, which I assume was a symptom from the vaccine. And he was like, oh, you can take a nap, and like I don't know why that creeped me out, and I was like, no, I'm staying up. I got home safely, and then I thought that was the end of it. And a couple days later he texted me. He was like, good morning, how's the vaccine? I didn't recognize the number, so I was like, who's this? And he's like, remember the Uber driver, the one that drove you to get your vaccine? And I was like, oh, it's good, thanks for checking up, how nice of you. I just left it at that, but then he started to text me periodically, like day after day. He was like, good morning, how are you? Hi, sunshine. And I never responded. And 2 weeks later, thank God I wasn't home, I went back to my parents' house, and they live in a different city, and I was staying at their place over the weekend. This time I get a call from the Uber driver, and he's like, hey, I'm downstairs at your lobby. He's like, what's your unit number? Buzz me in. And I was like, why are you in my house? He's like, oh, I'm just checking in on you. And I hung up on him because I was so creeped out. I called our concierge and I told him to like not let that guy in or give him any information about me, and the concierge was like, yeah, of course. I didn't find out until I got home a couple days later that the concierge actually had to call the cops on this fucking Uber driver. He wouldn't stop insisting to the concierge to let him in because he wanted to see me. And the concierge was like, no, she just called and told us not to let you in. She doesn't know you. I don't know the exact details, but the concierge saying that like tipped him off, and he just started to cause a scene in front of everyone at the lobby. I submitted a report to Uber, and I never heard from that driver again.